This is a Big Facts Network exclusive.
Okay, we live in the crib, Vibin With Veto. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment on the YouTube at Vibin With Veto. Also follow us on the Instagram at Vibin With Veto. You already know the slogan. We vibrating higher, and we always chasing purpose over popularity. Today I have somebody special in the seat with me. This is crazy to even have you here because it's like, bro, the world knows you as Rory Verrett.
Yep.
I know you as Unc. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So to have you here, thank you for taking time out of your day. I know you were doing a whole lot for this weekend and stuff like that. Congratulations to my little cousin on the graduation. Yep. And bro, it's just amazing to have you here.
I'm proud of you. This is awesome.
Thank you, man.
Awesome.
Everybody that sits down with me, I have the honor to ask them this question. I have the honor to ask you, how big would you dream if you knew you couldn't fail?
Oh, that's a great question. I think that my dreams are a little bit time boxed because I'm toward the end of my career. So I'm 55. So I'm now at a point where I've made enough money, I've achieved whatever professional status. Is really now about legacy.
Right.
What's my legacy? When I retire in 10 to 15 years, what is the body of work that I've put together? What does it stand for? What kind of legacy am I leaving my daughter?
Right.
And to all the people that poured into me, from high school to college to law school to my family, did I make good on all the promise and all the breaks I caught? So I still dream big. I was
going to ask you that.
I still dream big. I still tell people, hey, give me the ball. I'm still shooting. Like I'm like Kobe. I'm still shooting. I might go 0 for 10, but the stat line might be 18 for 40.
Facts.
Right?
Facts. Yeah, nah, for sure. Nah, I was going to ask you that because you said one important thing. You was like, you still dream big. Like for a person that has reached and hit all of the goals that they ever planned in life, sometimes I would look at it like, is it hard to continue to dream big when you have already achieved like everything that you have already wanted and always wanted? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think people can take professional risks when they're at the margins. So if you look at people that have been incredibly successful, oftentimes in their story is some kind of moment of desperation. And they've been given the gift of desperation. They don't have a plan B. They can't be like, oh, well, I'll just inherit my dad's company and do it. They're like, I got these projects or I got starting this rap label. And so they pour themselves into their dream because there's no plan B. On the other side of that, when you've been very successful, you can also take big risks because you're kind of playing with house money at this point, right? You up, I'm up.
You're right.
I'm playing with house money.
Right.
I can't. It would be hard to screw up my life at this point.
Right.
I mean, I could make some dumb decisions. But now I'm like, okay, if I keep doing what I'm doing, I'm going to provide for my family, make money, be wealthy. But what can I do to actually leave my mark on this world? And that is what motivates me to keep thinking big and dreaming big. And I look at it like basketball. Like at some point in your career, you have to have Shaq, but then you got to have Kobe. You got to have Shaq that gets in the paint. He's going to get 18 rebounds and 28 points down low. Kobe's going to shoot the three. Kobe's going to razzle dazzle.
Facts.
Right? And so if you have that, what I call high-low factor in your career, it's a powerful combination.
Right. Absolutely. So take us back on the journey. You know what I'm saying? New Orleans, Louisiana. You know what I'm saying? Take us back to young Rory. What was young Rory dreaming? Who was young Rory as a kid? Take us back.
So I tell people that your dreams and aspirations when you're a kid are, a lot of it is formed on who your parents were, who your siblings were, what is your birth order in your family, and then what was happening where you were growing up. So I grew up in the 1980s in New Orleans. Black people were coming of age professionally in politics. you didn't really know a lot of black business people, but the people who were important and prominent, who were black, were in politics. So I wanted to be in politics.
State representative. Remember
That's right.
we did that? Yeah.
And none of my siblings chose that path. So if your dad had chose a path, or Stan had chose that path, or Janine had been like, well, let me pick something else. But nobody had chosen politics. They had chosen entertainment, academia, teaching French, and that kind of thing. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this politics thing. I'm going to try to be as good as my role model. So when I was a young man in, I don't know, 12, 13, 14, I wanted to be president of the United States.
Wow.
For real. Like, not playing. Like, I was active in student government, and Bill Clinton was in this program called Boys State. They take all the student body presidents from around the state, and you go to this leadership camp for a week. You got to get up at 5 in the morning.
What? Wow.
Yeah, you're at LSU. And so I did Boys State in Louisiana. He did in Arkansas. He became governor of Boys State.
This is Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton. When he was,
Okay.
And so there's a picture of Bill Clinton with John F. Kennedy that it was like, this is his moment of destiny, because he met John F. Kennedy because the Boys State governors from every state went to Washington.
Right.
So I did Boys State. Now I'm a black dude. I'm student body president of my high school. I did it, and it's all these white kids, and I wound up being attorney general, which is the number 2 spot. The guy that became governor was also a black guy. He beat the governor of Louisiana, his son. The governor of Louisiana at the time was a guy named Buddy Romer. Chaz Romer was his son. A black dude beat that guy in an election with 90% white guys.
White, dang.
He was that nice. And I was like, okay, he's a little nicer than me. He had a following, people from Baton Rouge. And so the second best spot was, so at that point, I'm like, wait a minute, I just beat 9 white guys in Louisiana to be the best student politician. That's not insignificant.
Right.
If you're tracking yourself.
Right.
The governor is probably telling his son, you could be governor.
Yeah.
Black dude just beat him at that.
Right.
So I'm starting to think I could do this.
Right.
And what was really helpful about growing up, and I credit my parents and my siblings, is that there was nobody telling me you can't do this. There was nothing in my life that said, are you crazy? Governor of Louisiana?
Right.
So I grew up with the notion that dreaming big was almost your birthright.
Wow. Let's stay right there. Let's talk about your parents, right? When I say Wilbur Verrett, what's the first thing that comes to mind about Grandpa? When I say Joyce Verrett, what is the first thing that comes to mind about Grandma for you?
My dad, Wilbert, I would say leadership and discipline. My dad got up at 5:30 like the sun every day, went to work. He poured concrete. He was a cement mason. So if you're a cement mason in Louisiana, that means you are laying concrete. You're not in any shade because the twigs and the leaves get in the concrete. So by its very nature, you are under the sun in Louisiana 12 months a year pouring concrete. I never remember my dad missing a day of work. Like, I'm sick, I can't make it. I have no concept, no recollection of that. Okay.
Damn.
My dad was also president of his church. He was president of a civic club. He was president of a union. Never made it past 8th grade. Natural leadership skills, because he was just rock solid. He was just, you could depend on him like the setting of the sun and the rising of the sun. And my mother, brilliance. I mean, my mother,
absolutely.
My mother is the smartest person I've ever met in my life. I mean, and I've met people that are Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Stanford, PhDs. I was a class behind Ketanji Brown Jackson in law school. I was friends with Kasim Reed, the mayor of Atlanta. I was in student government with him at Howard. My mother is, by a factor, the smartest person. So just raw brilliance.
Wow. So growing up in New Orleans at that time, right? I know you said you wanted to kind of embark on that journey and stuff like that, but New Orleans is one of those cities where if you're not on like your P's and Q's, that city can swallow you.
Yes.
What kind of kept you on that straight and narrow path? Because it's easy to get distracted in New Orleans. I mean, you have the women, you have the parties, the culture, parades. Everything about New Orleans is just so unique.
Right.
What kept you on the straight and narrow path?
To be honest, I got associated with people that were doing corrupt stuff. And so I worked for a member of Congress who wound up going to jail.
Damn.
I worked for a mayor who wound up in some embezzlement corruption scheme with one of his technology vendors. Our company was a technology vendor. So my wife tells me I'm like Neo in the Matrix. I just keep avoiding these corruption scenarios. And when you're young, you're 25, 27 years old, and these things are happening, you think, am I crazy? Like, I'm watching this happen, and I don't want to do it. And you just think, you're naive, man. This is how the world gets down. Like, it ain't like the cartoons. It ain't some stuff you read in the books. This is, people get dirty.
Yeah.
But something in me just said, no, I'm not doing this. And I had friends who were like, you don't have to sell out that way. Not like sell out like...
Yeah, you don't have to go down that,
right, you have to go down that
path.
And so... That really helped me say, well, first of all, I don't think this environment is for me. And I love New Orleans, but there's so much stuff happening that's like under the surface that if you're not careful, you will get caught up. I have friends that I thought were brilliant, upstanding, you know, they wound up going to jail. I'm like, how? That person in New Orleans will wind up being a CEO of a company if they grew up in New York or California or Atlanta. But in New Orleans, they wind up somehow going to jail.
Right. Do you feel like New Orleans, they kind of make it to where, like, if you come from that place, it's hard to make it out in a sense? Because you and my dad and Uncle Stanley, y'all are like anomalies, right? When it comes down to that. Like, I know a lot of people down there that they don't have like the will to leave. They feel like they're stuck. It can either be like you're working for a certain job. You feel like, hey, if I go here, I'm not going to be paid this amount of money. Just different things like that. Why do you feel like people think like that when they live in a place like New Orleans, and you know they don't give people like, you know, like it's hard to make it out?
So I think that culture is sticky, and culture can keep you stuck to a city, because if you are in any other city, you have to be very wealthy and successful to buy your way into a private golf club, a private dining club, to live in a certain part of a community where you may have, you know, upscale experiences. Whereas in New Orleans, you don't have to be rich to have upscale experiences. You can be a blue-collar person working part-time jobs. You're still going to experience Mardi Gras. You can still afford to go to Jazz Fest.
Absolutely.
You're still going to have Essence Festival. You're still going to have the Voodoo Fest. A lot of these festivals are free, and you're going to still experience a second line. So you don't have to make money to have a very culturally rich life. And for a lot of people, it's like, well, what's the point?
Right.
I can live a culturally rich life and work as an offshoreman, or I can, you know, work on a boat, or I can do some kind of job with a high school education, and I'm fine.
Wow. So, you then left for college, right? Let's talk about your college, like your college life.
Yes.
So Harvard Law, but before then did you go to Howard too? Howard. So talk to us about college.
Howard University is the stuff of your black college dreams. I mean, and so I had these three siblings. Your dad went to Dillard, Stan went to Howard, Janine went to Emory. Stan was, your dad, Lester, was like, don't go to Dillard, kind of gently, because mom's there and she's going to know all your grades. And you fail a test, she goes see you in the yard, you fail that chemistry test.
Right. That was a great advice, too.
Yeah. But she had moved on. And I wanted to move out of Louisiana. At the time, New Orleans was in a tough place. You had the drug epidemic. You had the oil and gas bust. There was a lot of unemployment. There was a lot of crime. It wasn't an uplifting place. And I went to visit Howard University with Stan for homecoming. That was it. I was like, I'm done.
Wow.
I applied to one school, Howard. And when I got there, Howard was in its prime, I think. Even now, the mayor of New York, David Dinkins, Howard grad. Supreme Court Justice, Howard grad, Thurgood Marshall. The mayor of D.C., Howard grad. The mayor of Atlanta, Howard grad. So all these all these Howard grads are coming to their own in politics.
Right.
And so it was a place that, if you're interested in the arts, if you're interested in politics, if you're interested in being a professor, the best African-American students in the country were there, and they wanted to be in politics too. So you were going up against the best of the best. I was the elected student member on Howard's board of trustees. I succeeded Kasim Reed.
Damn, Kasim Reed.
Kasim Reed, he was the student trustee before me.
Wow.
The guy that is the state's attorney, if you heard of Marilyn Mosby, she was the one that they had the Freddie Gray case.
Oh yeah, the Freddie Gray, yes.
And she was the state's attorney, and she lost. Ivan Bates, who was the student body president when I was a student trustee, He has that job now. So
Damn.
you had serious political. Taraji P. Henson was at Howard when I was there.
Oh, she was there?
Absolutely.
Wow.
I'm trying to think of who else. The guy from, his name's escaping me, from Blackish.
You talking about
Anthony Anderson. Anthony Anderson was
okay.
there when I was there. Cockroach from The Cosby Show was there.
Dang.
Everybody was there.
So, and these are people you're bumping shoulders with.
Yes.
I would assume.
See him on the yard. I mean, my daughter will love this. Diddy was at Howard when I was there.
Wow.
He was a sophomore.
Wow.
He didn't throw the parties he is now legendary associated with. But these were like parties at clubs. You know, you pay $10 to get in. But yeah, he was there. He dropped out because he had an internship at Uptown Records and he wanted to produce a Mary J. Blige and Jodeci and never came back.
I mean, yeah, he betted on himself. He put all his chips on the table.
So I mean, you're going to school and class with I had swim class with Ananda Lewis.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
She was a freshman. I was a senior.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So would you say like that was some of the best times of your life?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was the best times of my life socially because you didn't have to worry about the party. The party was going to be happening. I was that guy on the dorm knocking on people's doors at 2 a.m. Hey, man, can you turn it down? Rory, why you being a nerd, man?
Yeah.
You should have some fun, man. Come down to the party. I'm like, it's 2 a.m. on a Tuesday. Okay?
Right.
I'm just saying, I have a midterm tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Just turn
so
it
you'll
out.
party when it's time to party, but when it's time to buckle down on work.
Right. I always work hard, play hard. A lot of
Yeah.
people at Howard were play hard, play hard.
Yeah, facts. So Harvard Law.
Yes.
Then you leave there and go to law school.
I went straight through. So I actually got to Harvard Law through a weird way. If you're familiar with the Rhodes Scholarship, like Bill Clinton was a Rhodes Scholar, Cory Booker's a Rhodes Scholar, Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland, is a Rhodes Scholar. So Howard wanted to be the first HBCU to have a Rhodes Scholar appointed from the school. There had been people who had Howard degrees, but they would get it when they went to grad school at Princeton or grad school at Stanford.
Right.
But Morehouse, Spelman, nobody had ever gotten a Rhodes Scholarship from an HBCU. And this
Really?
is 1991.
Dang.
So the president of the university, because I was on the board of trustees, was like, you're going to do it. You're going to be our nominee. And so I got really, really close to doing it, but didn't make it. And I was so distraught about it that I was like, I'm not going to, most people apply twice.
Right.
But I was like, I don't want to get it from whatever grad school because I'm graduating from Howard and I wanted that history-making moment.
Yeah.
So I got that fat envelope from Harvard Law and I was like, bump the Rhodes Scholarship. I'm going to Harvard. So
Dang.
I went to Harvard Law straight through undergrad. I probably should have taken some time out because I was burnt out, but I went to Harvard Law fall 92. And again, went there. You're meeting people that are just unbelievably talented. I mean, just mind-blowingly brilliant. And so you're there and you're like, well, I'm here. Maybe I'm good too.
Yeah.
And so that was an amazing experience as well.
How did you train your mind to like go through like with law school? Because I would assume that's just like so like demanding of your time. Number one, you have to probably study like all the time. Like your social life probably got cut just a tad bit going there. How did you train your mind to say like, I'm going through with this? Like all my chips are on the table.
Yeah.
I'm graduating from this school. It's because it's going to set me up light years ahead.
I think you have to have somebody that shows you a little bit beyond the path on the road you're taking. Like you can see, wow, this path looks interesting. It looks like it's going to create success for me. But if you know somebody that's like, no, I'm a mile down that path. It is they're going to give you a Ferrari 2 miles down. Like it is incredible.
Right.
You're going to be successful. And so I had a mentor. His name is Ben Wilson. Shout out to Ben Wilson, who is Russell Wilson's, the quarterback's uncle. Was a mentor to him.
That's his uncle.
Yeah.
Wow.
Russell Wilson's dad died when he was young, and Ben became the father figure. But I met Ben Wilson when I was 19 at Howard, and he was a black Harvard Law grad who wanted to be an environmental lawyer. I wanted to be an environmental lawyer, and my girlfriend at the time, her best friend was babysitting for him, and I went to his house for a fundraiser to meet him, and I got there, and it's like it's all black people. His nephews have. Or his, some people, I guess it was nephews, champagne flutes, Mr. Verrett, and it's investment bankers, doctors, lawyers, entrepreneurs, millionaires in this mansion, all black. And my mind is blown. I mean, I had a brilliant mother, but our family was middle class. We weren't like wealthy or affluent. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, this is how I want to live. I mean, he was down to earth. He was cool.
Wow.
And he became my mentor. And I said, I want to go to Harvard Law. He said, well, what is your GPA? I said, 3.4. He was like, you're not getting to Harvard Law with that, man.
So did that, and I didn't mean to cut you off, did that automatically kind of like almost shatter like your dream, like when he told you that, or that lit a fire that you didn't know you had?
The next semester I get a 4.0. The next semester I get a 3.8. I apply to Harvard with a 3.7. I get in.
Right.
I don't talk to him. I don't get in.
Dang.
So he let me see what my ambition could produce. It's very hard to study that hard, to be that disciplined, and you don't see the fruits of it. But if you're seeing, this guy is 40 years old. He's a multimillionaire. He's got a beautiful wife, beautiful daughter, this mansion. He has all these incredible success stories in his life and achievements. He has all these influential friends. You see that. That's like, okay, I don't have to be at the party at 2 a.m.
Right.
I can study because I'm connecting. Tonight, if I study, means an A in this class. An A in this class means a high GPA. A high GPA means I get into Harvard Law. Harvard Law means I come out of law school making 6 figures at 25.
Wow.
So you just got to connect the big goal to the small activity.
Right.
And you're good.
Wow. So, okay. So let me ask you this. This is a question that I have to ask you. If you didn't meet him, do you think your life will be where it is today? Like if you didn't meet that guy and he gave you that advice about, what it would take to get to A to B, do you feel like your life will be where it is today?
Maybe, but it would take me longer to get here. Like he gave me the cheat code. He gave me the cheat code.
Right.
It's what I tell people, I tell my proteges and mentees is, if you do well in high school and college, if you grind out for 8 years, you are largely going to take a lot of negative stuff off the table. You can still get to success without that, but it's easier if you do it that way. It's easier. And so I would have gotten into Georgetown, top 25 law school.
Right.
Would I've had the friends now, my roommate in law school is president of a hedge fund. My best friend from law school is a federal judge.
Right.
Okay. My female best friend is a diplomat, was appointed ambassador.
Wow.
All right, so that's the kind of people you're running with in those circles, just because you're there. I might be partying somewhere else or sharing study notes. Those people might become, senior partners at a law firm. They're not going to be unsuccessful, but they're not going to reach. I mean, Ketanji Brown Jackson is a close friend of a close friend. I mean, I could.
That's a flex.
Yeah, I mean, Ted Cruz, the senator, was in my class. The governor of North Carolina was in my class. I mean, these are people that I could reach and touch and talk and engage with if I wanted to, and it'd be harder to do that if I wasn't there. So when you go to a college or a graduate school, there are 3 things you get. You get the actual education, the actual learning of what you get. You get the credibility that you went here, so you must be smart, however that is. You go to MIT, you're very smart. You go to Savannah State, maybe they say you're kind of smart. People make judgments on that.
Right.
The third thing is that alumni network. And the older you get, when those people become gazillionaires, and you're asking them, hey, can I pitch your venture capital fund? And they own a venture capital fund.
They're
it's
like,
easier
sure.
if you party with that person in law school, dancing to Macarena or something,
No, that's dope. You worn many hats, right? Kudos to you. I'm super proud of you. Harvard Law grad, NFL exec, founder of your own firm. But when people ask, who is Rory Verrett, what do you lead with?
That's a great question. When you take away father, husband, Christian, I'm a mentor. That is the posture I'm always in. I meet a stranger, within 15 minutes, I am trying to help them with their career. I don't know why that happened. I have an idea of why it happened, but it's just the thing I veer toward. It's teaching people about career success and playing an important role in that. I have defined myself as I am the good Samaritan on the road to success.
Right.
I'm the guy stopping saying, hey, Vito, you need these strawberries. For what? Take this bushel of strawberries. You're not getting past level 2 with the goats unless you give them strawberries. They'll block your path. I'm that guy.
We need more of you.
Well, thank you, but it's because I had your dad. I had Stan. I had Ben Wilson. I had, shout out to Ray Anderson, the EVP at the NFL. I had the late Dan Packer, who was the CEO of Entergy. I had all those primarily black men. I had Deb Elam, a black woman, head of the GE Foundation, pouring into me. So I can't really complain that I didn't get good breaks. I got all the green lights in life. It was green lights the whole way, and that motivates me to give back. So I just feel compelled to share the cheat codes that people gave me. I think a lot of people want to think that, hey, I'm smarter than you. I work harder than you, or I'm more brilliant than you. It's not true. It's not true. Robert Smith, the billionaire hedge fund manager, worked with an executive early in his career who said, this is how you invest in and then break apart software companies. And you sell them for parts. It's just not any different than taking a car, chopping it up, and selling it for parts.
Right.
He does that with software companies. This rich white billionaire gave him the cheat code. Now he does it as a private equity guy and a hedge fund guy, and he's now worth $6-7 billion.
Wow.
Would it be worth $1 billion on his own? Probably, but everybody gets a cheat code from somebody. It's a lie that people discovered on their own.
Yeah, and I don't feel, and thank you for saying that, because I feel like even with the route and the path that I'm going, right, I've had nothing but great people on my team too, and people that have given me gems along the way. DJ Screen, just different people. Even with the CEO Khaki, with the whole podcast. I didn't know I was going to be a podcaster. Right. I'm a musician. I'm a rapper. Right. One bad car accident actually sparked something that set me up light years ahead too as well. But it's the people in your lives that encourage you and give you those. You can do this.
That's right.
But I feel like also on the flip side of that too as well, you have a lot of people that are like, hey, I'm a gatekeeper. I see your talent. I know that you're great. I just don't want you to be greater than me.
Correct.
Why do you feel like that? Why do you feel like there's two sides of every coin, right? But why do you feel like the next person doesn't want to see the next person shine, per se?
It's a scarcity mindset, and it's because that person knows how fragile their success is. I'm not bragging, okay? I'm not bragging, but the thing that I am most confident about is you drop me off in the woods, in a jungle, I'm gonna come back mayor of the jungle. I just know that. I know that I will take a situation, I will make the most of it, I will make some success out of it. Some people, they're one-hit wonders in their careers, and they know I made It Takes Two, but I didn't have 4 or 5 platinum albums. I gotta protect this because my success is fragile. It's not durable. I can't do this again. And instead of having the cheat code, they kind of, it's a little bit of his luck. It's timing. And people know that. Like, people know when they have a competency to do what I call doing hard things. They can do hard things well.
Wow.
As opposed to, I made this song, this kind of music was out, it became successful, I've never been successful again. No, I'm not. That person's not gonna. They don't have enough to share. They have a scarcity mind. It's like, I got one donut, bro, and I'm hungry. I don't have a box of Krispy Kremes.
But if you do give somebody a piece, they might bring you back a whole box. Just being honest.
Right.
That's real talk.
That's very mature of you to think that. But if you have that fragile success, you are walking nervously all the time because you don't know when it's going to be taken away.
Wow.
You know, people that reach a level of success in any endeavor, they wind up, I think, giving back, being mentors, because they know, I can do this again. I can do this again.
Right.
Your success doesn't take away from me.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah.
Facts. I love this conversation. I just had to stop and just say this. This is amazing. What are some of the things that you instill in Jordy, your daughter? Because I'm talking to you, and it's like, I always talk to you, but like we're having a real in-depth sit down right now, so I get to experience like what's in the mind of Rory. Yeah. What are some of these things and some of these gems that you're instilling in my little cousin?
I first start with, and if she sees this, she's gonna roll her eyes because I say it all the time. I say we're an outcomes-based family. It's the outcome that matters. I don't care how many shots you take. I don't care if you got fouled. I don't care if the referee is not traveling on the other team. Who won the game? Who won the game? That's it. That's all that matters. You can say they cheated you, you were hurt, you didn't get a good night's sleep. The outcome of the game is what matters. I'm looking at W's and L's. That's it. So your GPA matters. Your scores on AP tests matter. Your scores on standardized tests matter. Doesn't matter if the teacher wasn't kind to you, or they didn't do right by you with this subject, or this particular semester, the school didn't really have their act together. What is the objective data about your school report card saying? That's it. Nobody's going to ask whether you were happy in high school.
Right.
Nobody's going to ask whether it was fun in high school. They're going to say, what was your GPA? What are your test scores? And if those are high enough, you get into college. That's it.
Outcome based.
We're an outcomes-based family. Number two is I've told her, obviously, keep careful tabs on the company you keep. Your peer group is so powerful because that sets this micro culture in your life that you tend to be, as the famous expression says, the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So when I was in high school, I was active in speech and debate, and my friends were all like, we're gonna kick ass on this tournament, and then we're gonna party all night.
Wow.
And that work hard, play hard thing, achievement, and then enjoying the success of your achievement was this sort of ideology I got into. So I tell her, you don't have to sacrifice fun to do success. Work hard, and then Friday night come, go hang out. So this work hard, play hard mentality is something I teach her, and I teach her to keep careful tabs on who your peer group is, because even more than your parents, your peer group is going to dictate how big your dreams are, how much support you have when you are questioning yourself, or you're down, or you're pessimistic about the outcome of your dreams. There are people in my life to this day, I can call them and they know I've got some crazy idea I'm gonna pitch to them. And they'll give me, yes, that's a good idea. No, that's a bad idea. You're crazy for doing that. But within that peer group, I'm gonna get the right answer of whether I should do this new thing.
Absolutely.
So those are the things I try to tell her. Keep your peer group close and monitor that. We're an outcomes-based family, and work hard and play hard. You don't have to, sacrifice joy in your life to achieve success.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. What's the most fulfilling thing about fatherhood?
Fatherhood is tough. Fatherhood is tough. I mean, it's the hardest thing I've ever done. And I have a good child. I have a great child. But you are molding somebody largely based on how you grew up.
Wow.
And you think, okay, like I think I had great parents. I had great parents who raised me in the 1980s.
Right.
Now it's 2025. I got a whole bunch of other factors to deal with. I got the internet. I got kids going through anxiety. I have this generation not hanging out as much as we did.
Right.
Social media. I got all these things to deal with. And so the thing that has kept me inspired about it is that at the end of the day, this is half of you and half of, my wife. And you want them to grow up to be independent of you. You want them to grow up and not need you, which is hard when they're a child because they obviously need you, but you're giving them the toolkit for them to survive long after you're gone, because they'll be alive, hopefully, and I'll be gone, to heaven, and they'll hopefully those philosophies and that advice will help get them through the rest of their life.
Wow. Let's shift gears,
Yeah.
right? You left the United States to find peace, right? First of all, kudos, because again, that takes courage to say, hey, I'm leaving where I'm comfortable and I'm going to a whole another country. You know what I'm saying? Can we talk about
Yes.
what made you want to leave the United States? How you're living over there in Lisbon, and just like the differences and similarities about both places too as well.
So in 2016, when the Hillary Clinton lost, we said, I don't know what's going to happen with this new administration. We probably should think about a plan B in case it gets a little dicey in America.
Right.
So we started thinking about various places around the world. We considered South Africa, went there, loved it. It was too far, and it just wasn't practical for a lot of reasons. And then COVID hit, so we're really in the house all day trying to figure this out. And my daughter is coming out as gay. You got black and gay, the world is small. You can't really do the Caribbean. You can't do parts of Africa. You're really left with Asia, South America, and Western Europe. South America has some infrastructure challenges. Asia is really far away. So now you're dealing with Western Europe, France, the UK, Spain, Portugal. And I went on the internet and was just doing research, and it's like, everybody's talking about Portugal. What the heck is going on in Portugal? I never wanted to go to Portugal. So we did a 2-month sort of sabbatical at the end of COVID in 2021 and just fell in love with it.
Wow.
It was multicultural. There were a lot of Black Americans over there. Lisbon in particular is like if you take Rome, Italy, New Orleans, and San Francisco and put it in a blender. It looks like San Francisco with the hills.
Wow.
It's got the bay like that. It's ancient. It's the second oldest city in Europe after Athens, Greece. It's older than Rome.
Wow.
And so it's got the ancient feel. Like you walk into a restaurant and it's got these beautiful, stone pillars from like the 1400s, but they're serving you like scones,
Wow.
or they're serving you microbrew or something.
Yeah.
And so it's that modern and antiquity together. And New Orleans, it has that New Orleans vibe of it's a Catholic city. So you have all these Catholic processions and Catholic holidays, but they party. They party like crazy.
So they have they out there having fun.
Oh, it is one of the party capitals of Europe.
Wow.
And so we went there and we were like, this is amazing. And my wife, whose background is in real estate, was like, we should buy a condo here. And I was like, we didn't come here to buy a condo, but business was going well. And we said, okay, let's invest in some real estate and we'll come and live here every August. And we'll hang out here and travel and we'll rent it out and just use it as investment property. Then in April of that next year, there was a mass shooting at my daughter's school. Gunman opens up his window, an apartment across from the school, shoots 239 bullets at the school during pickup. And by the grace of God, nobody died, but 4 people got shot. And people in D.C. don't even remember this because there's so many mass shootings in America.
Yeah, it's starting to become like normalized.
There's so many mass shootings. I mean, 18 people died in Memphis in like May or April.
This
year? This year.
For a mass shooting?
Yeah. No, like over a weekend.
Yeah.
It's like they had 18 people over a weekend got killed in Memphis.
God.
So it doesn't even make the news anymore. There are 400 mass shootings, 4 or more people getting shot every year in America. So that happened, and we're like, wait a minute. We need to really think about a study abroad. So we need a mental health break because we moved to this private school because the public school had a threat of a mass shooting. A little kid gets on YouTube and says, I'm going to Cabin John Middle School tomorrow and I'm going to kill all the N-words. Y'all better not come to school.
That was Jordy's school.
Yeah. So we were like, okay, we got to take her out of this school. We put her in this private school. I tell my daughter, they don't shoot up private schools. If we have to use our income to save you, and the biggest mass shooting in private school history in America happens at that school. So we said, let's try it out for a year. The logical place is Portugal because we have an apartment there. So we apply. She's a great student, gets into 2 schools. We said we tried for a year. And she said, I want to stay. And so she graduated 3 weeks ago from a Portuguese international school.
Let's clap it up for that. Let's clap it up. Dang, that's so crazy. At that time, what was going through your head when you hear things like that, mass shootings, and preferably it's at the school where Jordan goes to.
Right.
What's going through the head of Rory as a father, as a leader, and just as somebody that just wants to make the right decision for the family?
Okay, this is not a flex, but at that exact moment, I'm thinking, I'm a millionaire. My wife and I run a multi-million-dollar business. We have a $1 million home on a private golf course, and my child could have gotten murdered today. There's nothing I can do to protect her in the United States. Like I cannot take her death off the table for a completely random reason. So as a parent, you want to do what's best for your child. And I'd always thought, well, what's best is you're going to inherit some money. You may inherit this business. You may inherit some property. I will have a network of people that will know you. And I began thinking that's not enough if she could get killed. Or if she's growing up thinking, she grew up thinking her whole life that there could be a potential mass shooting. She had these lockdown drills and her whole life has been trying to avoid or prepare for a mass shooting. She was 5 years old in kindergarten, comes home and says, Mom and Dad, we had a lockdown drill. And we look at each other like, what does that mean? She said, well, that's, you have to listen to the teacher and get behind the door. I said, why are you doing this? She said, in case an animal gets out of the zoo and attacks us in the school. They had to tell the kids.
They had to make it
like it was an animal, a lion or a gorilla would get out of the school. Not that a human being, likely an American citizen, would kill you for no reason.
Right.
So I just said, as a dad, I've got to do better than this. And better than this was taking her to a safer country. Portugal is one of the top 10, top 5 safest countries in the world. Right. Gun rights are severely restricted.
Okay.
Women walk home at night. 3 a.m. by themselves. staring at their phones, going down dark alleys, completely unafraid. Nobody has a gun. There's no child in Portugal that thinks or remembers, remember when Johnny got shot, man? That's not in the cultural memory of Portuguese people to lose a friend to homicide or to murder or to anything. It's just not even in the culture. And so that was important to give her safety, to just give her a safe place to grow up, make friends, stay out late without worrying about being abducted, being trafficked, being shot.
Right. What's the scariest thing that goes in your mind as a father, like that you feel like you can't protect your daughter from?
A mass shooting.
Yeah.
Still to this day, when I'm in the United States and I am at a restaurant, it's a very weird thing. I go into the bathroom, I use the bathroom, and I wash my hands very quickly, and I come out, I don't dry them, because I'm thinking to myself, what happens if I'm in the bathroom and a mass shooting happens? Do I go out and defend my wife and daughter? I don't have a gun. Or do I stay in here to stay alive that all three of us don't die? And that's not stuff I thought about before you have a mass shooting. But once it happens to you, once you get proximate to a mass murder event, it changes how you think about everything. There are 400 million guns in America. There are 330 million people. There are more guns than people. Open carry laws in many states. I just did not want to raise my child in that kind of environment.
Right. Dang, you actually taught me something about there's more guns than people. That
45% of the guns in the world are in America. 45, almost half of the guns in the entire globe are in the United States. And the United States has 5% of the world's population.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why do you feel like it's so accessible to like just get a gun, even if you don't have a license, or it's so accessible like in the United States to just get a gun?
The courts have interpreted the Second Amendment to mean essentially there should be no reasonable restrictions on gun use. And so you can get guns without background checks. You can get guns at 18. You used to be able to buy a gun at Walmart.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so the courts have just interpreted the Second Amendment means the free and liberal ownership of guns.
Wow.
So, I mean, that is just not the kind of culture I wanted to raise my child in.
Absolutely. Let's shift gears. I have a slogan that I always say, purpose over popularity. When I say that slogan, how can you mirror that or surround that around like your life path and life journey?
What I do in my day job is I recruit and I coach purpose-driven leaders. These are people that work at sports, entertainment, nonprofits, universities, think tanks, people that have a definite mission they want to achieve. And I either help a company recruit those leaders, or I help a leader that has that kind of personal mission in their career achieve their career goals. So I believe everybody has an assignment in their lives and in their career.
Right.
And if you don't understand your purpose and your assignment, the American economy is going to drag you into what serves it. Think about it like an assembly line.
Right.
You go to college, your major dictates what kind of job you get. You start thinking about what you're going to major in based on what you're going to work in.
Right.
That's at 18. Then if you get promoted, the company tells you you're promoted.
Right.
The company sets the salary. The company tells you what your title is. The company gives you your benefits. And so if you don't wrest control of that and center your career on what your purpose is, you're going to be serving somebody else's purpose.
Wow.
And for some people, that's okay. For some people, their career is not the main thing. They may be thinking, I have to take care of family, or I'm really active in my church, or whatever. Or some people don't work like you. They don't work at a big company. They're entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
But if you don't identify early on your purpose and commit to it, the world is going to just send you in all kinds of different directions.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Let's shift gears. I'm enjoying this. So I got a lot of questions. You emphasize value-based leadership a lot, right? What core values guides your own decisions, both professionally and personally?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say number one is acting with integrity. And acting with integrity means not simply thinking about the bottom line of the business. So I run an 8-person consulting firm.
Right.
I play a a lot of different roles in that business. One role is I'm the one that generates the revenue. My wife is a partner. She is the COO. Justin's the chief of staff. We have some other people. Yep. We have some other people working with the company, but I have to bring the revenue in. But I also have to coach people if we have a new model. If we do more coaching, I got to coach them on our coaching methodology. I have to be a good boss. And so the way I think about it is there is more than just the financial bottom line. There is a cultural bottom line of how I act inside the company. Do I act in a way that I'm the best boss they've ever had? Do I act with our clients where I'm the best consultant they've ever had?
Right.
Am I producing a net positive in the world from what I'm doing? I think about that triple bottom line over just the financial bottom line.
Right.
So one, it's integrity. I would say, secondly, it's legacy. It's what does this all mean?
Right.
Like if it's just I'm making money, I'm living large, everybody else, they got the bag too.
Yeah.
That's to me, that's not success. I think a lot of people can do that. I think it's have I solved a problem in the world because I have great training, qualifications, and skills? Have I made the world a better place because I've applied my leadership skills or something? That's the measure I'm constantly judging myself on.
Wow. Well, thank you for that. I like that answer. When you help companies build leadership teams, right? What do you look for that a resume can't show?
Oh, that's a great question. So in most cases, the company is saying we want this kind of person. And they put into the position description what we call leadership competencies. These are, because it's executives we're hiring, like we did the president of the Seattle Mariners baseball team, we did the CEO of Paisley Park, we did the president of the Schomburg Center, the big black cultural repository in Harlem. Because we're doing those senior level searches, you're not looking for people's qualifications. You're looking for how do they behave as a leader? Do they act in chaos, calm and steady? Do they take data and create meaning out of it? Are they able to build relationships with different people associated with that company or that organization? So those competencies guide us on how we evaluate a candidate. But one of the things I look for, which is really different, is you know the expression people will say, "Oh, they're new money," or "They're nouveau riche."
Right.
I think about that with people who are successful. How long have you been successful? Are you just recently successful? Are you new money? Or are you old money successful?
You're right.
Because those people act differently. They take different kinds of risks. They see themselves differently. They may have, for example, a scarcity mindset if they're new to success. Or like, I just got here. I'm not trying to help anybody because I just got here. But if you've been spelling bee champ in high school, you were a track star in college, and then you became a successful.
You kind of used to it at that point.
You're used to it. You're not. You're gonna have a generosity of spirit that's gonna make you a better leader.
Right.
The company isn't asking me to find that, but that's always one of my check the boxes of how new is this person's confidence.
Right. So let's stay right there. How did you come up with the idea that you wanted to do the Protege Leadership Academy? Like where was your mind there, and what made you say, all right, cool, I've done this in my career, now it's time for me to bring other people along too?
We do primarily executive recruiting. So companies hire us to run an executive recruiting project to find a great executive for a company. There are also people that call us and say, hey, I'm looking for this kind of job. I know you can't place me in that job. You don't represent me. You're not an agent. But what would it take to be CEO of a baseball club? I know that because I did a recruiting project.
Right.
So I'll say, well, you need A, B, and C. Oh, okay. All right, great. How do I get B and C?
Right.
And so I started thinking about who is the market and how can I help these leaders get to success better? And so I created this process and this coaching methodology called the Sovereign Path. And sovereign is like a country. You are self-governing. You are regulated by your own values. You're living your career from the inside out. And the path is your career journey. So I started coaching people under this methodology of how can you walk the path you're supposed to walk. And my YouTube channel is a way of me showcasing the methodology. I'm going to start doing interviews in the fall.
Plug your YouTube.
Protege Leadership Academy on YouTube. So I'm going to start doing more interviews with people who are walking their own unique path, that have done amazing things, started companies, doing amazing nonprofit work. They're working at these amazing companies. Like, how did they get there? How did they avoid the traps other people have made in their career? How did they avoid that, and how did they get on this path? And so I'm going to interview them just to give the world the cheat codes by me interviewing them.
Right.
And so Protege Leadership Academy is meant to optimize and accelerate purpose-driven leaders to get to success closer and better, because if you get there faster, the world is a better place.
Right. Diversity and inclusion is more than a buzzword to you. How do we move from corporate checkbox to actual cultural shifts?
It's a great, awesome question, and it's a timely question. DEI means you're finding the best candidate. Now, the test of that is people that are against DEI. I ask them, what is the opposite of diversity? Monoculture? You want the same kind of person? What's the opposite of equity? You want inequity? You want unfairness?
Right.
What is the opposite of inclusion? You want exclusion? No, you don't want monoculture, exclusion, and inequity.
Right.
You want the best person. But if you just look at the same candidates, I worked at one of these big search firms. Give an example. And the guy sitting next to me used to recruit a certain kind of leader. I said, how are you billing $3 million a year every year? He said, come here. And he called his assistant, and she brought over 3 pieces of staple paper together. He said, these are all the executives in the function that I recruit for. I'm just shuffling these names back and forth. I'm not really trying to find anybody. And I was like, what?
That's kind of messed up.
Right. He's like, I'm just shuffling these names back and forth. And I thought, this guy, I'm the fool. I'm here trying to find the actual best person for the job, calling candidates, and this guy's just going to the database and whoever's in there. Well, if you have a company or a search firm and 90% of the people are white, 70% of them are male, they all went to the same schools, who are they going to call for $1 million a year job? You think they're going to call and find some Hispanic woman that lives in Boise, Idaho? No, they're going to be like, hey, buddy, I have this job for Pepsi. You should apply for it. And that's what happens. And that's why corporate America is the way it looks, because the search firms that recruit for them are not diverse themselves.
Right.
And so it's about finding the best person. And I tell our clients, traditional recruiting would never have discovered Tiger Woods. It never would have discovered Serena Williams. If you're trying to find the best tennis player, the best woman tennis player in the world, would you go to Compton, California, and look for Richard Williams with his 2 daughters banging balls against concrete walls? No, you would go to some country club in New York or California, find out who the top tennis junior student is.
Right.
Tiger Woods was playing courses in California, public courses, because he couldn't play the private course. He couldn't get on. Right. So it's the same thing. If you're looking for these amazing leaders, you got to look under every rock. You can't just look at the people that are the usual suspects.
Wow. You said going to Compton, like that's for real. I mean, I feel like that's where a lot of talent is.
Right.
I would say underprivileged places and stuff like that too as well. You can go and find like the diamond in the rough there.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? So
if you were thinking, hey, I'm looking for entertainment moguls that could wind up being worth, I don't know, $500 million or more, would you go to Queens and say, I'm looking for Nasir Jones? Nas, would you go look for 50 Cent? Would you look for Jay-Z? No, these are moguls that are they're not Harvard Business School grads.
Right.
They're not in some entrepreneurial academy.
Right.
And so you take that in corporate America, they're also brilliant people that just didn't go up the same path. Right. I'm not saying I'm going to Compton to find a corporate executive. But there are people that maybe didn't work in the same companies in your industry. They work for another industry. And they can take those skills and transfer them. And that person may bring a lot of grit, a lot of leadership, access to new markets. Wouldn't you want that person? You want your company to sell in Hispanic markets or Asian American markets? You're looking for the best person.
Right. You've said what you know is the key early, right? Then who you know and later. Can you break down? Can you break this down to us and maybe share like how it's played out in your own life too as well?
So the first third of your life, it's what you know. It's your qualifications, your skills, your knowledge.
Right.
That gets you to maybe 35. 35 to 45, it's then who you know.
Right.
It is your network, people you can tap into to give you a chance, people that can give you the cheat code for an industry. After 45, it's who knows you. It's your reputation for success. It's your reputation for being ethical. It's somebody saying, I'm looking for someone to do a podcast across culture, politics, and entertainment. There's a guy named Vito you should talk to. If you're not doing podcasting and doing it well and have a great reputation, nobody's calling on your behalf. Nobody's recommending you. Right? If you somewhere else and you're like, I'm teaching school, I'm doing something else, you're in that line. It's like I tell people, there is a line we're in our career. Do you know what line you're in? Are you in the line you want to be in?
Right.
Because you're going to grow and develop and become successful. So if you're not in the right queue, in the right line you want to be in, you got to figure out how to get in the right line. For me personally, I think that definitely my network has helped a lot. It definitely helps in executive search when I can just call Ted Cruz and say, do you want this general counsel job? And the client is like, you know Ted Cruz? Yeah, I know Ted Cruz.
Right.
Ted Cruz and I used to debate all the time in first year of law school.
Yeah.
And so that networking thing helps. But after that, I think for me, now it's who knows you. It's people are now referring us. All these people that I've coached now become CEOs, and they're like, I want you to coach my team the way you coach me.
That's dope.
And that winds up being the who knows you and your reputation, and you have this halo effect, as it were, being successful, that it just becomes easier. It's like Stan made a comment one day. He said, yesterday I made a flub on the air on ESPN. I said, really? I said, how did you feel? He said, well, I felt bad about it because I didn't want to mispronounce that person's name. But I've been at ESPN 20 years. Now they just think, well, that's just Stan. He just made a mistake. It's not like you're a young guy and you're not talented and what a goofball. You couldn't pronounce that, Giannis's name. He's like, no. It's just I just flubbed it. And everybody makes mistakes because he has that grace. He has professional grace. Right. You're not going to have professional grace unless you're very, Andre 3000 can play flute. And everybody's going to be like, whether you like it or not, you're not going to be like, he's a horrible rapper. Right. He's playing with house money. Yeah. He has a reputation already as a great musician. Right. Now he can take these risks.
Facts. Is there a particular protege you've mentored that reminded you of yourself or taught you something new?
Awesome question. There are several people that I have mentored that inspire me. There is a guy named James Baker who I met at a conference, who this guy just will not quit. Like he will not quit. He has been through hell and back and just keeps showing up for himself, keeps showing up for his family. When I call him, and I may talk to him once or twice a year, I know when I say, what's up, he's going to tell me, yeah, I was in Cairo, stuck in, a caravan of camels. I mean a dramatic story. But he's going to tell some crazy story about something he's overcome, and now he's doing this wonderful thing.
Wow.
I have a guy named Louis Sterling, who is worked in financial services, worked in hedge funds. This guy is just brilliant. I mean, Harvard Law School, Harvard MBA. He did a JD MBA program, summa cum laude, valedictorian from Howard undergrad, Truman Scholar. Just a brilliant guy, self-made. He is just somebody that also is just always trying to do hard things. He's he's not trying to take the easy. He's always trying to do something hard.
That's dope.
And I'm trying to think of who else. I mean, there's so many. Alston Taylor is the president of St. Aug, and he has taken that school, revitalized, brought back the swag to the school, raised a lot of money, raised standards across the board, academic, athletic, in terms of the artistic achievement, has gotten St. Aug in all kinds of great press. St. Aug played at the D-Day Memorial in France.
Wow. St.
Aug was on a 60-minute special. As you want to know how Katrina has changed the city, this band will tell you the story. Somebody has to pitch that. So those three guys are just pretty amazing guys.
Man, that's dope. That's dope, man. I want to kind of like take it back to my childhood. You want to know one of my most fondest moments with you?
Oh,
bro,
God.
we were you was taking us golfing one time. It was me, you, Joey, and my brother, bro. And I didn't know what I was doing. He was like, "Hey, go ahead, it's your turn." And I went with the club and I hit my brother in the head.
Yes.
Bruh, that was probably one of my most fondest moments with you, bruh. Because I was like, I ruined it for everybody. You remember that?
I was like, no, you didn't. You made it. It was an accident. But
Yeah.
I hit with a golf club hurts.
Yeah,
even a little soft
he
hit.
was about to beat me up,
was
bro.
like,
He was definitely about to beat me up. But nah, it was like, man, I had an amazing childhood with you.
Yeah.
And definitely like a lot of memories with you and Uncle Stanley and
boxing.
stuff.
You remember boxing when y'all moved to Atlanta?
Man,
We used
everything.
to box. I can't believe that. Put
Man.
these fat gloves on and be boxing.
When we moved down here, we lived with you first.
Yeah,
before we like in Diversiplex, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was right there by Auburn Avenue.
Yep.
And stuff like that. When did you move to Atlanta?
2000 to start the company.
Okay.
We raised like $200,000. We're gonna be internet billionaires.
Damn.
And then the market just
Crashed.
crashed.
Do you feel like if the market didn't crash, you guys were heading in the right direction?
If we had started that company 2 years prior, we'd have sold it for like $50 million.
Damn.
I mean,
what kind of company was it?
It was a digital marketplace that allowed Black, Hispanic, Asian American, Indian American businesses to sell their products and services to corporations who wanted to buy it. So not like somebody selling like tennis shoes or sneakers,
right.
but if you're selling legal services or for a utility company, a power company, you make the transformers or you make the poles, that kind of stuff. Selling that over a digital marketplace. We were well ahead of our time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, how did y'all even think of something like that?
I was working at a utility company, and they said, I was working there, and they said, we're going to put all of our purchasing on a digital exchange, and we're going to build it ourselves, and we're going to then sell that company and make billions of dollars, because that's what you did in the dot-com gold rush. And the question in the meeting was, what happens to our minority businesses that we buy from? How are they going to sell from us if they don't have the technology?
Right.
And I said, I'm going to build a company that connects these minority businesses. And so we wound up getting that company as a client.
Right.
But the technology, even with this utility company that spent $100 million to develop this platform, theirs failed.
Right.
It was just ahead of its time.
Damn.
It was just ahead of its time.
That's crazy. That's crazy. To even like go into that and say like, this is the company that we're about to start. You know what I'm saying? You had to have like-minded individuals that was ready to embark on that journey with you. You know what I'm saying? And that takes a lot of courage too.
My best friend tells me, remember Randy Moss?
Randy Moss, yeah.
He would tell me, Verrett, every play is not Randy Moss post pattern. Throw the bomb. I was like, yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Damn.
His thing was like, we don't always have to do the big thing. We can just do, why don't we just do a consulting firm, make some money? I was like, nah, man, let's throw the bomb. We want to win 42-0.
Facts. Nah. With the weight of the world on your shoulders, success at the palm of your hands, how do you respond when adversity knocks at your door?
Oh, wow. Well, adversity is always going to be there in some form or fashion. I think, one, my faith grounds me. I am very critical of myself. I will ask, how did you wind up here? Is this something you did that got you here? Is this just bad luck? I mean, you could just get a cancer diagnosis.
Right.
You could a tree could fall in your car.
Right.
But if it's something where I'm like, no, I did this. Like, I got me here. A lot of our wounds are self-inflicted in life and in career. And so I try to figure out how much of it did I cause? Outcomes based. Again, how did you get here? And then once I assess that and I say, well, this is not me. Like right now in our business, it's changing a lot and we got to change with it. And that's hard when you are just 8 years doing the same thing and then all of a sudden you got to do something different.
Right.
And so I'm like, well, we didn't do anything wrong. It's just the business landscape changed. And I rely on my faith. I assess my own culpability in the situation. And then something I think everybody should have is a board of advisors. Now, I call it that, but it may just be your friends you talk to, your family. Whenever you have a big decision, you should have a bunch of people you talk to and say, I'm about to do this. What do you think?
Right.
A lot of people keep that stuff close to the vest.
Yeah.
They're embarrassed when they fail at something or when something is wrong in their life and they don't want to share it.
Right.
Or they want to surprise people with the flex so they don't talk about it.
Right.
But before I bought that condo, I was calling all my friends. One person gave me, as a real estate investment, this makes sense. Another person said, yes, you should do that. You should take a month vacation if you can.
Yeah.
Another friend of mine was like, how many summers do we have left, man? You should buy that. Treat yourself.
Damn. That's
At 50 years old,
that's powerful.
He was like, we may have 30 summers left. What are you waiting for? And this is the friend that, shout out to Steve Brooks, that always gives me the sober advice, always gives me like the very serious, cautious advice. He was like, no, do it. So you should always have a circle of friends that your brother is part of it, Stan is part of it, and I will call them in a certain order. There's some people that if it's like a big idea, I'll call certain people that they are the nitro in the gas tank. They'll be like, yeah, that's a great idea. And that bucks me up and I get going.
Right.
And then I call the naysayers after I've called 3 other people that have given me additional insight about why the idea is good, to be like, oh no, Vita gonna tell me it's a crazy idea. And I talked to 3 other people, and they're gonna tell me it's a great, I'm gonna offset his argument. And so, and when it's bad things, I think in particular black men, we are afraid of opening up and sharing vulnerabilities. And I think if we do, we can get some amazing insights from friends, especially when you're older and people have known you 40 years.
Right.
They have what's called fact pattern recognition. You are always in this situation. Every 10 years, man, you wind up in this situation. You know why you do that? I don't know. Because you do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And they'll tell you stuff, put a mirror to you in a way that you don't have. The other thing I'll say is therapy.
Let's talk about that. I'm an advocate of therapy, bro. I'm gonna share something with you I probably never told you about. When I got divorced, right? I was married for a year. When I got divorced, bro, I was at my darkest times, bro. I was getting ready to check out. Like I literally said, I'm done. I have nothing to live for. And it wasn't more so just about that. It was just like I was just at my lowest point. And I have to shout out Lil Al. Lil Al literally would get on the phone with me at like 8 o'clock when he'll go to work, and he would stay on the phone until like 5 o'clock. He'll just have his phone on. Hang up, he'll call me right back. Hang up, call me right back. And that's because, like, my brother cared about me. And my god brother, he cares about me. But on top of that, I was really like, I was at the brinks of like, bro, I don't care about life. And I went to therapy. Therapy changed my life, bro. And I used to be like, man, no, I ain't going to that. Who? What I look like talking to somebody that I don't know?
He gonna take your watch and tell you what time it is.
Exactly. But the thing is, when you're talking to somebody that's a non-biased party, they don't know you. Correct. So all they have is time and opportunity to listen to what you're saying and analyze that. They get a chance to know you from that vulnerable state that you're in.
Correct.
I tell anybody that's going through anything, go to therapy, bro.
Yes.
Go to therapy.
Yes.
When did you go to therapy?
Yes.
Or?
Let me tell you the eureka moment I had with therapy. So my wife and I are raising our daughter. Our daughter is on the neurodivergent. She's neurodivergent, so she's on the autism spectrum. She is also LGBTQ. So we don't have experience with that. It's not like, well, I'm LGBTQ. I know how to raise. Right. This is all we doing it in real time. And so having a therapist to talk about what the child is going through and how to parent that kind of child. When I think Wilbur and Joyce Verrett are the greatest parents in the world. Yeah, but they didn't parent an LGBTQ neurodivergent child.
Wow.
In Europe.
Right.
So somebody that can help me think through how do my wife and I create a common ideology, a common philosophy on how to raise a child like this. Has been extraordinarily helpful. I don't think I would have gotten there on my own. I don't think I would have figured that out on my own. As much as I'm intentional, smart, ethical, talking to my board of advisors, they don't have experience with this. So I talked to my best friend from one of my best friends. He was my roommate from law school. He's like, yeah, I'm raising a trans child. I was like, what? He's like, we should have called each other. We should have called. We called each other about golf and hanging out and this kind of stuff. He's like, and just on it, we didn't share any of that. He has a trans child. My kid is gay. So I think that therapy, that therapist has fact pattern recognition. They have coached dozens of people. It's like a human chat GPT. I've seen this 20 times. This is what you're doing. This is how it's going to happen. If you keep doing that, you need to do this. you're not going to figure that on your own. And if you do figure it out on your own, it's going to take so long. There'll be pain. There'll be friction in your life. There'll be all sorts of things in the years it takes to get there. When a therapist can be like, oh, no, this is what it is. It's like me with a coach. I'll tell people, this is what's going on. They'll be like, how do you know that? I'm like, I've been doing this for 30 years.
30 years, yeah.
I've talked to thousands of people. And I know at a certain point, person A in position X is going to think about X, Y, and Z.
Wow.
Right? And a therapist has that on a human level. So I just think, black men need to lean into that a lot more. I think there's a lot of depression, particularly among middle-aged black men. I think working in corporate America can do a serious deal with people on their ego, on their confidence level. I think you combine that with divorce. Half of all marriages end in divorce.
Absolutely.
So if you're divorced, you're not getting a fair shake at your job. Life didn't turn out the way you wanted it to, and you did everything right. You paid your taxes, acted ethically, married your college sweetheart, worked hard, and you're still struggling? Oh, that's going to do something to you.
Right.
That's going to mess with you.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, again, that was probably one of the best decisions I made, because I'm still here with y'all.
Yeah.
Number one.
We need you, man.
Number one. That's
Absolutely.
number one. And going there, and I just got myself back. I slowly started feeling like, damn, I feel like LeVon again. I feel good. Like, I'm smiling, I'm laughing. Bro, for 3 months, I didn't laugh. Nothing was funny. I was serious.
Your dad, I hope I make it through the story without choking up. First year of law school. I'm a first year at Harvard Law. You can't tell me nothing. I'm that dude. All right? I'm riding high, amazing accomplishment. And I had a horrible situation happen to my girlfriend. And I called your dad. And your dad talked to me. It was me thinking about doing something really stupid. And your dad talked to me on the phone for 8 hours one night. From like 9 to 5 in the morning. I went to class on no sleep.
Damn.
And he was skilled at it. He was knowledgeable, and he knew how to kind of talk to me and get me going again. But we all have those moments where we don't have any answers.
Right.
And we have these angels in our lives that come in and help us.
I have 5 people. Well, let me say 5 people that I look at you guys, and it's like I just think the world of you all.
Thank you.
My dad, you, Lil Al, Uncle Stanley, Lil Drew, and Shayla.
Respect.
Man, my dad is like Yoda, bro. Like, like real talk. Like, I can call my dad and be like, man, I'm tired. This dude did it. LeVon. You know how he is. LeVon. Da. And he'll just tell me, and I just feel so much better. And my mom too. Your
dad's been a 60-year-old since he was like 20. He's had the wisdom of an older man, a wise person since he was like, a college student.
Damn.
Everybody goes to your dad, like everybody in the family.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm saying.
Your dad is that guy for a lot.
Yeah, facts.
A lot of people.
Man, this has been amazing. A great sit down.
I'm so proud of you, man. This is awesome.
Bro,
this is one of the best interviews I've ever been on.
You for real?
I'm dead serious. Those questions are incredibly heavy. They are not light. They are not softball questions. I mean, I've been on 10 plus podcasts. This is top 2 or 3.
Damn, maybe
top 2.
That means a lot.
Yeah.
That means a lot. I mean, I put a lot of work into this, and it's so crazy that I didn't know I was gifted at this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know that though, but you know what I'm saying? It just takes certain situations to kind of shift you into the direction you need to go on. Like, I still make music. I still have my first love for music. It's still there, But podcast has given me the ability to be a voice. I feel like my voice trumps any song I ever made. I can literally talk to somebody, have these conversations, and we make memorable moments without, you don't have to sing along to this.
But the music career is not irrelevant to this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
There's a performance element. I mean, you're on stage. I've seen it. Like, there are people yelling at you, screaming at you. They've been waiting for you, and you've got to make sure you deliver. Not everybody can do that.
Right.
Not
Uncle Stan saw me on a tour.
Yeah.
Uncle Stan came to one of my shows. He saw me in action.
So I'm not saying this is easy, but it's easier for you because you've had that. You have a lot of cultural awareness. Like you're not, I mean, like I don't know who the top rapper is. I don't know what the cool slang is. Like I don't know what's in the zeitgeist of people your age. So you have that, you're a culture carrier, and you got charisma.
Thank you.
And intelligence. So that's a lot.
Thank you. Thank you, man. Thank you.
That's a lot.
Again, thank you for coming to Vibe with me. Tell the people where they can find you.
You can find Protege Leadership Academy on YouTube. We help purpose-driven leaders find their way in the new world of work. And you can find me on Instagram under A Sovereign Path. That's my coaching methodology. And also on Facebook.
Thank you. It's been another episode of Vibin With Veto. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment on the YouTube. You already know the slogan. We vibrating higher, and we always chasing purpose over popularity. Thank you, Unc, for coming.
Appreciate it.
We gone.
How was that?
That was great, bro.
Seriously?
That was great as hell.